Yeah, so guys, welcome to another episode of Inner Dialogue. It's been amazing. I know the past episodes have been wonderful as Betty and I try to just share the things that we are always talking about. And guess what, guys? In this episode, we have our first guest ever. Alright, so it's been so good sharing with my friend Betty. And so we decided, as we are going through this journey, we want to also bring other voices. We want to give you an opportunity to hear other people and even to share just conversations that we have with our other friends. So in this episode, we have our first guest ever. And it's so good to have a long-time friend of mine that also has been through a very interesting journey. And we just look forward to hearing from her. Her name, she's going to be telling you her name. And I think I'll just, without much further ado, I'll just allow her to introduce herself so that we can get into this conversation. But maybe just as a way of introducing her, she's a coach, just as I am. She was not a coach from birth. That's why we're going to be sharing this story. But she's doing some amazing work. I had an opportunity to just participate in one of her coaching sessions where she was taking a client through what we call family constellations. I hope I got that right. And it was just amazing. Okay, I can't even explain it, but I hope that as we discuss, she's going to be able to share. But it's amazing just to see the growth that has happened in her life, and she's doing amazing things. I don't want to spoil any further, so let me take you to our guest. Our guest here this episode is my friend, my good friend Trizah. Yeah. Please introduce yourself to our people there.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit taken by surprise with that introduction. It is sounding quite massive, and you know the way you get to listen to someone saying something about yourself, and you're thinking, are they talking about me? And in the process, I'm just thinking, okay, Trizah, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Yeah, so yeah, it's nice to be here. Finally, I think we have talked about me coming here for some time.
Yeah.
And this time is the best, and I am glad that I'm here.
Wow.
My name is Trizah Muragu, and as Crises has said, I am a life coach. I have a background in childhood trauma, ancestral healing, generational trauma. That's where my background is at. So just to share a little bit is that my clients will come with questions. For example, it could be marital questions, career questions, professional questions, or even concerns. They could be stuck in one area or another. That is how they understand the problem, and that is on the conscious level. And then I will give further insights about what is the why of their question from a deeper perspective. Yeah, so we use different modalities to develop a why, a deeper why to my clients' questions. And one of those modalities, like karaoke shared, was is it karaoke or Crises? Crises. Yeah, one of those modalities that Crises shared is family constellations. There would be so many modalities that people use to get into the deeper perspectives and the deeper reasons why things are happening. So I use family constellations. I am very trained in family constellations, and I develop a constructive why, a very detailed why. Maybe someone is going through patterns, or maybe someone is stuck in one area or another, or someone is wanting to change one career to another and they are unsure for one reason or the other. And so we will go down into checking which way would be best for them and why. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that is what I could share for now. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe as we are talking about this, just to make it clearer,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I have had the opportunity to experience it.
Yeah.
And I know that there are so many people
Yeah.
who have certain questions about their lives.
Yeah.
If you're able to share just a highlight so far as you've been doing this, maybe a highlight of what you've been doing so far.
Yeah.
Something that you think, this is the moment that I can say this was a beautiful moment of my, this is a new career.
Yeah.
So guys, chill out. We're going to be going into, you know how we do it here.
Yeah.
But just a highlight of what you've been doing, if you'd be able to share that. And maybe, of course, without talking so much about a client, just like give an example of someone who had an experience and something you brought them through.
Yeah.
And you,
Yeah, I think the greatest highlight I would say about my work is to see how unaware we sometimes are to the approach of why we are in a certain situation. Maybe we find ourselves drawn to particular persons. Maybe if I could say in relationships, for example, we find ourselves falling over and over again for a particular set of people. And then we at the beginning it looks very okay, and then at some point it actually ends up being destructive. And it is amazing to see the why behind why we actually find ourselves attracted to a particular kind of people, attracted or even in a particular working setup. Maybe you find yourself with a particular kind of boss, that you feel like, hey, I given an opportunity, this would not have been my ideal situation, but for some reason I just find myself.
You're saying that there are things that happen in our lives. Or for example, the example you've used, you find that over and over, you get into relationships, romantic relationships with a certain kind of person. And you like ask yourself, why do I end up with people like this? You're saying there is like an intentional.
Oh yes. Things don't just happen. That is my greatest, I think that has been my greatest insight in my career work, that things just don't happen. You the way people say, I just find myself, there is a reason why you always find yourself in a particular way. Or maybe you're in a situation
as I just find myself.
No. There is so much that is working behind the scenes that actually predisposes you to finding yourself in a particular setup with a particular person in a particular career. Like there's so much underwater, I would say, under the surface.
Wow.
Yeah.
The next question would be, how did you let me first ask. It's a question we love here. We talk a lot about purpose. Maybe you'd ask, what would be your definition of someone's life purpose or assignment? And do you feel like that's where you are? Do you feel like you're fulfilling your assignment for your life?
Wow.
That's a big question.
It is a big question. It is a very big question, because then it makes me go back into what I thought in the past was my life purpose, and why I thought it was my life purpose. But maybe to answer your question, what I think is the life purpose is when you are authentically in a path. Authentically in a path, and there's a reason why I say authentically. If I would tell my story, I would make a comparison to what I would say authentic versus what is not authentic. Right now, I feel like I am authentically in my path. Like I am not reliving someone else's story. I am not reliving someone else's life. I feel like this is my path, and I have had to do a lot of work to actually find out that, hey, I am not living someone else's life. This is actually my path.
Goodness. The number of questions that I have from that statement. Number one, guys, I think you're getting a new That's why I love inner dialogue. It's about deep conversations that we have with our friends and even within ourselves. I feel like we are getting a new definition here of purpose, new quote unquote. It's something we've been saying. We've been saying purpose is a journey, and I love the way Trizah brought it out, that being in your purpose is being authentically in your path. Hey. So what is and she said very clearly, being not in the right in your path authentically is when you're reliving.
Yeah.
Like you're not living your. It's like you're not living your life.
Yeah, it is. You're actually, yes. It's like you're not living your life. It's actually you're reliving. You're reliving someone else's life. Yeah. What I would say, for example, is maybe you would find that let me try and pick a random example. You would find that probably there was
use your client.
Yeah, there was probably a lot of someone comes from a background where there was a lot of war, like war being like a major event. Maybe their ancestors, their great grandparents were involved in like a war,
like a serious war,
like a serious war, or maybe a series of injustices that happened during their ancestral lineage, and then this person may find themselves with an inclination to be a lawyer, for example. Yes, to be a lawyer, and they think
seeking justice.
Yes, seeking justice. Like they want to come in, and they like justice. They like to stand up for people. They see people that are oppressed, and they are automatically attracted to people that are oppressed, or something. Anywhere there is an oppression, then they are touched by that, and they feel like, hey, this is where I feel like I am drawn to, not knowing that they are actually stepping in to like compensate for many injustices that happened during their maybe in their life past, like no, not in their life past, but maybe their ancestors and their grandparents were involved in a lot of injustices, and so they step in as a person to compensate for injustices in the past.
And this person could be, it's not like they know.
It is what I'm saying. People say, I just found myself, I just went to high school or something, and then I was somehow very good at history, or I liked history for one way or another, and then I went to university, and somehow I was struck with maybe a liking for studying criminology or something like that, and I feel very nice when I defend people. I feel very nice when I come into the rescue of the helpless. But what they actually don't know is that they are stepping in as a way to compromise, and not to compromise, to compensate for injustices in their past. If you go down their lineage, you will find that there will be a series of injustices. So they come in as a compensation to what that happened in the past. Do you see? So that person, if you ask me, it is not a matter of whether it is wrong or right, but then it will be curious to find out that person is actually reliving someone else's life that is not authentically theirs. They are just there because they are a system of they are compensating.
So do you feel like at some point you did that?
Yes. At a point, I think I did that in a great way. In a great way. Before I even go there, I can also give an example. Maybe you would find a woman who has in their history, in their past, there's a history of sexual abuse, or sexual molestation or something like that. And then they will come up and they are very vocal with women rights and human abuse, and they are just drawn to those things, and they wonder why they also are coming in. They are coming in to compensate, or to try and bring a balance to that which was there in their past.
And this is whether they know of
this one. You do not have to know it. The family system has a way of producing a compensation or a balance of injustices in the past.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are deep things, my guys.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked,
Yeah.
do you feel like you have experienced
Yeah.
that, is because here at Inner Dialogue, we really like to go into the process.
Yeah.
Maybe before we go there, maybe you can just share what you do, where you're based,
Yeah.
and then we can start from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I already shared what I do.
Yeah,
I'm a
what you
life
do.
coach.
Yes.
Yeah, where I am, I work with clients. Either I work online with clients. I can work with you online, or we can on. Is it after online? Is what's the opposite of online?
In person.
In person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I meet with my clients in person or online, both here in Kenya or in the Netherlands, where I also travel every now and then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start there.
Yes.
So this girl, she's
please.
a good old friend.
Yeah.
And we suffered a bit.
Yeah. A bit is quite polite.
In a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then suddenly we get to a place and she's telling me about these amazing things. I have actually gotten to witness the amazing things she's doing, and she's working both here and in the Netherlands, and in my opinion she's doing very well. But it has not always been like this.
No.
I love using that statement.
Yeah.
It didn't start here. That's why I started by saying she's not a coach by birth. You know.
Yes.
So we like to step back.
Yes.
Into where did this come from? Because one of the things we've talked about here at Inner Dialogue is process. And we really believe that process is so important. It's actually more important the person you become along the journey than that pinnacle, what you have at the end, or who you are at the end. Yeah,
you mentioned pinnacle, and I'm just thinking, is there even a destination? Like we are all headed somewhere. We begin somewhere. We are headed somewhere. Whether we reach that somewhere, we find out. We find out. Yeah, and where there is, where that somewhere is, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
So we're gonna pause about where we are now and just rewind.
Yes.
And we want to go through your journey a bit, so that we know how did we get here to the place where you're now doing something that you feel like you're authentically on your path.
Yeah.
You mentioned that earlier there are times when you are not on that path.
Yeah.
We want to hear that journey, because that is where most of our or people who are watching us are. Even if it's one person that is in a place where they're asking themselves, I feel like this is not where I'm supposed to be, and I'd like to get into that space. Is there anybody else who has gone through this? Yeah. So let's go back to Trizah Muragu.
Yes. I like the question.
Where did this start?
Yes.
Yeah, just give us like a brief of how you've come to where you are now. Let's begin. Let's go from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the way people ask the beginning, because I wonder, the beginning is so wide. Like where exactly do I begin the beginning? Where do we begin the beginning? Where is the genesis?
This is the problem of having conversation with coaches. Everything has many meanings.
Yeah, the beginning, probably growing up a bit, maybe. And by the way, all of that, my story, like a compressed version of my story, is on my YouTube, is on my website. So you can just go there and see. You will see. So
we will have. You can see Trizah's website here. You can check it out. See part of her story there, as well as more about what she does. Yes. Let's get deeper into it. Yeah.
So I was born in a family of three children. I am in between two. I almost said boys. And they might just shoot me. Sorry, please, if you're watching, I didn't mean that. It just came out. So I am three grown men now. So I am the only girl in my family. And I grew up as a daddy's girl. Growing up, I understood myself as a daddy's girl. Yeah. And what are some of the highlights I can remember growing up? Oh yeah, I grew up, and the grandmother that I was named, this is very important because I'm going to tie it with something else there. I find her, and she's not in her normal self. Like, I'm named after my father's mother. Yeah. So the grandmother I'm named, I find her in depression, like in real depression.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like when you're being born, she's in depression.
Yes, she's in depression. She was barely, like, she was almost losing it. She was already like on that road of depression. Yeah. So by the time I'm coming in, she her stories, unajua vile unapeana stories zenye haziletani. So she was already on that road. And then by the time I'm 7, 8, she's already very badly in depression. She's lost it and all that. And I remember we at some point were staying with her because she was not okay. That is the woman I'm named after. Okay. The woman I'm named after.
She was not sane 100%.
No, she was okay. Me being told before, but then at some point, I think because of my
by the time you're knowing
her family issues and all that, I think they sank her deep. Family issues. I want you to underline that because I will pick it somewhere else. Yeah, the family issues. They landed her in depression. Yeah, and eventually she died of it. Yeah. Then so we stayed with her. I remember my very early years. I was in upcountry, Madarene. I am a Kikuyu, Madarene. That is where we grew up. I was there up until I was in class 2. And my early childhood years also, what I can remember is that I also had a sickly mother. My father used to work in far from where we were. Okay. My father was already working in Thika, but then my mother, we were staying with my mother. She was a teacher. The reason why she was staying in the village is because she needed to take care of my depressed grandmother.
Okay.
You understand, yeah? But in the process, she was also very, very sick, and I remember they used to call it, I think, hallucinations or something. Hallucinations. Like I remember my mom waking us up at some point in the night and calling for my big brother and holding my big brother like tightly and saying wananikujia usiniache, like it was like she was going or something. That I saw that over and over again, me as a small girl growing up. Yeah. And it was like my mother was depressed. She had many times that she was being taken to the hospital. That is what I remember me growing up, yeah. At some point, after like I was in class 2, around 7, 8 years, around 8, 9 years, we came back to Thika. We got reunited with my father, and we started living together as a family.
This after Shosho has gone.
This is after Shosho is still there. We actually moved with her to Thika. She died much later after we came to Thika. Yeah. Okay. Then we lived in Thika, and I immediately, when I went to my primary school there, I think they spotted my ability to sing. It spotted my ability to sing. So from an early age, I started singing shairis. Nowadays they recite poems. I don't know whether these generations are they singing poems. I don't know whether they are singing poems. I am seeing one of our directors here saying no because she's a Gen Z. She's a Gen Z. Yeah. So in our days we used to sing poems. We used to tulikuwa tunaimba mashairi. Mashairi tulikuwa tunaimba. So that is what I remember.
Those ones were for singing.
We used to sing. So I remember that was like the highlight of my growing up, because then I became a star. I became a star at the age of, I think, 9. I used to represent my school in district levels, in provincial levels. I remember I actually ran number 3 of the country wakati wa Nyayo, wakati wa Moi. I actually went to sing. I didn't go to State House, but I went to KICC to compete, and I became number 3 the entire Kenya. So nilikuwa ka celeb. Hizo siku. Ka superstar. Na hata nilisikia ni vile tu lazima kulikuwa na provinces zenye lazima zingewin. competition hizo siku. So I was representing Central Province, and then there was Nairobi Province, and then there was Rift Valley. And you understand, when you know the president then in Rift Valley,
it's better you win.
It's better you win.
In the best interest.
So that is how I actually did not progress, but I used to hear from the judges that I was actually the overall best. So I remember that is how I became a star in singing. And then of course my father also got saved in the process of us staying with him. He got saved and became a pastor. This is also very, very important. Became a pastor. So I grew up as a pastor's kid. I grew up singing, not just in school, but also in my father's church, because he had a church. Eventually to where I went serving to JCC, I knew myself singing all through. So fast forward, I finished high school. I was also still singing in high school. I remember composing the school anthem for our school.
Wow.
Yes.
You were
singing. Yes. I even then I was singing, and then I went to college. Now, when I went, the time I was going to college, there were some people that came when I was in Form 4 that started introducing this this career that was looking very, very new and international. It was just coming in, and because I'm a very curious person by birth, I'm just a curious person. I'm not afraid to just take the paths that everybody is just looking at them from my Tisa. So they came and talked to us about public relations. It was just coming in as a new course. I remember it wasn't even a solo course. By then it used to be combined with managerial something. So you do business management and then do public relations. Me, I did not even want to gather details, because that is how I am mostly in life. Like, I just need a small light like this, and I hit the road running.
What attracted you
to public relations?
Ama the fact that it was
I think exactly. I think it's because it was new, and the way it was presented. Yes, nobody was talking about public relations. Now you understand. If you pick all these things, you will understand why I'm in the path I am in right now. Like I think I am attracted by adventure, and then I am not afraid to really venture into something. I had not had an example of anyone who had done public relations. There was no mentor. You know, there you're told, look at somebody, and from there you can become that one. This one, I was going to chart my own path by myself, because I had not seen anyone. So I had decided that is what I was going to do. So when I finished my Form 4, my father asked me what I needed to do, and I said, PR.
Quickly.
I think it was just, I don't know whether my father even had details of what it was about or anything. And because I'm also very like, when I told you, when I get something small like this, I push it to the end. I looked for the school myself. It was only, by then it was Kenyatta University and Kenya Institute of Management that were offering that. And because mimi nilikuwa na mzaha sana high school, I was a very bright kid, but somehow the seriousness that was in people reading was just too much.
Was more important than the education.
No. The idea of people with their books so seriously was not very attractive to me for some reason. So I actually, people revising in class, I would go, and the atmosphere was just too tense for me. It was just too tense, like, hey, like your life just depends on it. It was just not bringing. You understand?
That sounds a lot like you.